There we go. So it is Tuesday night, and I was playing with. Oh, first of all, this is Red Ben. If you're new, sorry. If you want to reach me on Twitter at Red Ben Trader, if you want to learn more about the trading room I trade in, where I trade futures, or the algo that all of these signals are based off of, you can give my coach, my trading coach, an email. It's trade, the letter N, the word perform at gmail.com. That's for Simon. Let him know that that you follow me and that you heard about him through me, and he'll throw you a 5 day free pass to the room. And you can just see if it's something you want to be a part of or not. We're really only looking for a few traders who really want to improve their win rate and their consistency through like a systematic process. So just to be if that doesn't include you, then then you can disregard that. But this will probably still be useful though, because what we're going to do today is I'm feeling extra generous. I stumbled on something that might be pretty neat. It also maybe doesn't work. I literally found this about an hour and a half ago, completely by accident. Like, just had an idea, and I was like, what does that look like? And then I quickly pulled it up, and yeah, it was. I was like, wait, oh wow, that worked really well. And then I pulled up another day, and it's like, well, that is kind of the same thing. That's neat. And that's as far as I took it, because I started to think, wait, what if I can actually improve this? Because I had a couple more ideas. So rather than take it all the way to the signal on my own, I figured, as long as I'm doing it anyway, why don't we do it together? So this way you guys can see what's involved when we build a signal. Now, realize this, I'm not sharing any secret sauce from Trading Perform. I want to make that very clear. These are not these signals have no relation to those, except for the fact that I'm gonna overlay them on my Trading Perform algo. So but I do want you to see, because in the Trading Perform algo we're doing similar things, just a lot more complex, but the concept of taking something that you observe in price action and turning it into an algo, like a signal, an alert that can let you know that certain conditions are true or maybe are no longer true. In that sense, it is the same. It's just that the conditions I'm going to share are not. They're just my own ideas. So I have no idea. Huge disclaimer here. I have no idea what the how useful this is yet. I have literally done zero research as far as I'm concerned. So to be completely clear, I'm not recommending that anybody buy or sell anything. But I will definitely be researching it. And if you want to research it, I'd love to hear what you think about it. If you've got a way to improve it, let me know. At this point, this is just an idea. So here it's a little overwhelming because I'm doing this on numbers. I'm doing it on what's called a Sierra chart numbers bars. You don't have to do it on numbers bars, but that's where I stumbled on it. So that's where it is right now. And I may actually try putting it on a point and figure chart. Maybe not today, but that's my next. That's one idea. So what we're looking at here, this is ES. This concept is probably going to work on ES and NQ, but I haven't even begun to look at NQ. ES is often a little bit easier to see the signals because it doesn't rotate as much, so there's less noise. There's like more significant low. Most let's see, how can I say this? When you look at the number of pivots or rotations in a market, ES just has less of them, and so more of them, a bigger proportion of them, are significant. Whereas NQ has a ton of little rotations inside of bigger rotations, and some of them are super significant and some of them aren't. So a lot of times NQ is a lot more complex. If you have a signal that works well on NQ, it's probably a really good signal. But there's actually a lot of stuff that works on ES, and this maybe one of them. I don't know yet, but we're going to look at it. So this is so what I've built here is I'm using Sierra Chart's Flex Renko charts, and you can see the like your time frames and stuff are going to be variable. It's like, don't worry about like if you're trying to like recreate this or something, like don't worry too much about like, oh, what's the exact settings and stuff like that. Like you guys, it's literally untested, just an idea at this point, right? So this may be far from optimal. So I'm not going to go too much into like what the exact settings are and all of that, but I want you to make sure that you understand the concept and why this might work, and then we're going to go back and not really back test it, but just sort of see like, do we see a pattern, and can we right away notice some things we might want to be alerted about when certain conditions are true. And like I said, I'm at the maybe like stage 2 of that process out of what's usually at least a 5 to 20 stage process when I'm building signals. So you don't have to understand all of this, okay? I know it's overwhelming because it's like you're not at stage. We didn't start at step 1, right? We're already at like step 35 or whatever. But the truth is there's only it's not as complex as it looks, because you don't actually need all this stuff on the chart. I have it showing because I know the source of the information, and I want to keep track of the data, the raw data I want to have in front of me, because a lot of times when you're looking for patterns and conditions, if you know how to read a footprint, what they call a numbers bar, a lot of times you will notice patterns better if you see them on the footprint and you see them on the alert. So right now, this is the price chart, and in each one of these bars, we have how much volume was done on the bid versus on the ask. So it's like it looks kind of like a delta chart, right? Delta footprint, but it's just every. So they're just separated by on the bid versus on the ask. So how many were bought aggressively versus how many were sold aggressively. And you can, you read it diagonally and all that. I'm not going to go into how to read a footprint. That's a whole other idea, right? But just realize that what we're looking at here is simply a Flex Renko chart, a VS, with the footprint showing, right? So we're like looking under the hood, and the only reason to do that, you don't have to. The only reason to do that is if you're looking for conditions that you want to alert, it's helpful to have all that raw data, so I don't have to guess, like, I wonder when this stopped turning orange, I wonder if it's relevant that the bar right before it had really negative delta. I wouldn't even think to look for that pattern unless I actually see the raw data here. So that's why it's showing. Once the alert is optimized, you can then put it just on whatever chart you want, right? I like Renko because that's what we use, but you could literally overlay it anywhere you want once you've built it. But when I'm building it, I generally use the numbers bars so that I can actually, and then I like the entire, the footprint plus the calculated values. So those potential patterns of conditions like jump right out at you once you learn how to read this, and that is a process. So what I'm talking about here are the shaded areas that are over this study subgraph difference measurement here, this line. So there is a potential like bearish condition with the gold brown color, and then potential bullish condition in the white. Now, like I said, this is not optimized, and I can already, just as soon as I put it on the screen, as soon as I actually created it, I was like, oh wow, I could optimize this far better than what it is now. But like I said, rather than going ahead and doing that by myself and showing it off at the final stages, I figured I'd just share it here and show you how when you build an alert like this, it doesn't start out as the pretty star that it ends up being or whatever. It starts out as like, oh, here's an idea. I wonder if this is related at all, and what are the conditions that we might want to look for, right? So at very, very early stages, but that's what we're looking at. And the way I've got this figured out right now is I'm not yet showing a buy and sell signal, right? So just because you see that it's brown here does not necessarily mean that this is a short. It might be, but it doesn't. That's not what it means. It's just that the conditions that I'm having it look for are the bearish condition, and then when it's white, it's the same thing. It's not necessarily the optimal entry yet, but it's like, okay, the conditions that I told it to look for, the bullish state is present, right? And so what we really want in the end, in my opinion, is if we can figure out which one of these bars is actually the most important one, or with the shades, right? Is it this first one that we really care about? Is it this one that we really care about? Like, where is the optimal place for the signal to come if we were looking to use it as some sort of analysis tool or a signal to make a decision about buying or selling something? Like I said, not what I'm recommending you guys do, but that's kind of the idea that I'm using it for, and I'm just sharing it out of generosity, right? So we don't know yet if there's a certain pattern of like, do we need 3 of them before they're significant? Do you want a situation where you've had a period of like no condition before the next signal, or is it far better when the conditions overlap like this? And like I said, to figure that out, the first thing you do, in my opinion, is you put it on the numbers bars and with all the calculated values, and you say, well, what was going on here, for instance, and how would I have liked to be? Well, first of all, would I want to be involved here? And then second of all, what would be my best case? What would be my best opportunity in that situation, right? So like, just to use this as a simple example, and this is what I looked at right away, is I was like, wow, it would have been pretty neat to be able to know that on this bar that it's bullish and not bearish, because when you're looking at this coming down, sorry, everything's like all this extra info is going to cover it up, but when so I can't put it right at the edge. But when you're looking at it coming down and you see it make this rip, I don't necessarily need to buy the low, but when I see this defense and then it gets absorbed, it's hard to tell without any indicator or whatever where this is going. It's like, oh, are they gonna defend this? Should I wait for the trap, right? Like, wouldn't it be nice if I had some information about whether or not that low is likely to get tested, or whether or not this high is more likely to get tested first? And in this case, the high gets tested first, but I believe, that the low also gets taken out. And so we could go back and say, okay, well, we knew the condition was bearish during these two. The condition we're going to talk about was bearish in these two bars, but bullish before it and bullish immediately after it. It had no time when it was neither. It was immediately bullish, and then right away flip to bearish, and then flip back to bullish. So that alone can be a signal. But what's even more common is for that signal to coincide with something like a huge speed change. See that? The blue is speed. Or a big delta change, or a structure change, right? Maybe a higher high, maybe a divergent low. Things like that are a lot more common, and you often won't see that unless you have all the numbers bars showing, or the dig just showing. So there's one condition we might want to look into, right? Well, here it is again. Check this out. We have bearish, suddenly looks bullish, and so if every one of those white bars were buyable, then you'd think that's a buy for some reason. That would be the thought, and that clearly is not the case, right? Just because it's white does not mean it's a buy. So that's good to know. But then what does it do? It goes white and immediately goes brown. And after being bearish for quite some time, rejoining that bearish condition here after trying to go bullish, sends it absolutely careening down, right? Whereas here, bearish, tried to go bullish, looked like it was going back bearish, continuation. Nope, flipped right back to bullish again. What happened after that? Like I said, we went higher for a bit, took out some liquidity, and then returned to being bearish for a while, right? And then you'll see sometimes this condition, oh, I gotta go this way. Sometimes this condition will be like absent. So, for instance, in here, there's not bullish or bearish signals, and that alone might be useful. Because when you look up here and say, well, what's going on here? Oh, it's a squeeze. And look, all the delta is increasing towards the end. It peaks right here. They try one more time. Right when the delta starts to go negative, we get the bearish condition. So after a big squeeze, if we have a situation where we have a black space that's relatively large while price squeezes up and then it turns brown, maybe this one, especially when speed goes from 105 to 169, and this is actually a pretty big delta jump too, that there might be an opportunity there, right? So you start to see those things once you put the actual alert on, and then you can very quickly start to analyze how to optimize it doing that. Because now I'd go back and be like, okay, well, here's that similar situation. We were clearly bearish, right? It tried to go bullish for one bar. Right after that, it didn't do anything. What did it do? Well, it went back to being bearish. And then what happened? Oh, it flipped right back to bullish again. Oh, this time we got a rip. Well, what's the difference between this and this? Well, the obvious answer is this went bullish and then nothing and then bearish and then immediately bullish, where this one was bearish, nothing, bullish, and then nothing. So, like I said, those, and then you could look in here and say, well, there's these other conditions that were also present, so let's try calculating those in, right? Again, big squeeze, no conditions here. Now, did it catch the top? No, right? But look, it wasn't actually the top either. So, but the first bearish signal we got was way back here, right? Which wasn't even a great place to sell. So it's not just sell brown and buy white. Well, I guess we did eventually get the top. But there seems to be some usefulness right away that, like, okay, knowing that it's bearish there, not to buy until at least that goes away might be useful, and knowing to stop shorting here at least until that white goes away, that might also be useful, right? So hopefully you can see that right away. So let's talk about how to actually build the thing, right? Because what the heck are we looking at? The truth is no matter what your idea is, you're going to have to go through the same process. So even if you don't understand how to build this, if you want to make signals, you're going to have to go through the logic. So this is just one example of how to build a signal. You don't have to recreate this one, but I'm going to share it because it's my own idea. So, and like I said, I feel nice. I had a good day today, and I feel like sharing. So what are we looking at? All right. So what it's looking for. The volume zone oscillator on the bottom is a free signal that you can get from Sierra chart. If you have Sierra chart, go to studies. On the left, all the way down by V is volume zone oscillator. You hit add and it's on your chart. The only thing I did to this, I left all this the same. Settings are totally standard. Only thing I did is I hid overbought level 1 and oversold level 1 because I just don't like a lot of levels on my indicators. And I didn't find any use for them. Other than that, and then I changed some colors and that's it. Right? So it's pretty much exactly how it's meant to be. So that's involved. And then the other thing that's involved is this green line here. And that green line, I wasn't going to share it, but I'll do it anyway. Because, yeah, if you guys want to go through the trouble of building it, cool. So I think that this is a lot. This is how I build a lot of my signals, is combining and comparing other related signals. So if you have an idea that maybe when X increases but Y decreases, that you may have more bullishness, let's say. You can graph that difference and start to see all sorts of neat things, including like where the divergence is, where it crosses certain levels, and things like that. So the way you do that is there's a whole section of study subgraph studies. So it's under the S, and we'll say study subgraph. See all these? So all of these study subgraph from here all the way down to here. Those are all mathematical things you can do to compare two subgraphs. Okay? So in this case, what I'm using is study subgraph subtract or difference. Or is it just difference? Is there more than one? No, that's the same thing. Yeah, this. Study subgraph subtract or difference. So it came out as study subgraphs difference. Okay? So it's saying let's chart the difference when after subtracting one level of one indicator from another level of another indicator or the same indicator, whatever you want to do, right? So in this case, and then yeah, that's going to be the difference is between the two levels is going to be what prints out here. So what you want to compare is up to you. I can share what I'm comparing, just like I said, so I'm feeling nice, but you could do this with anything, right? So the way the study subgraphs one works is you have to give it two inputs for the two studies that you want it to find the difference of, right? You don't need an alert condition here. You just need to pick how you want to look at it. You can have a histogram or area or line and put color whatever you want, and then you have to pick two subgraphs from whatever study you want. Now in this case, I'm taking the subgraphs from the same study and comparing them, right? So what we have is this is coming out of the number bars calculated values. To get that, you go right here and hit add, okay? And then you'll have it. Mine looks like this, and it's these calculated values here, right? So I have them showing because, like I said, I want to watch them so I have the raw data. But eventually, you don't need them there because your signals are going to be optimized already, right? So you don't need the whole idea of doing this is to limit all of that information to try to make it so you don't have to even look at the numbers and the colors, and all you do is just wait for the diamond or whatever it's going to produce when the sell or buy signal comes up. But for now, while I'm trying to figure that out, I'm going to need to look at the numbers. So what that will look like is when you do numbers, calculated values, is you can. This is basically the display of it. So if you're not going to display it, you can just leave this alone, and then you just have to pick which ones you want to see. And so the ones I have visible are ask volume, bid volume difference, right, or delta, volume delta, and then also what they call speed, which is volume divided by seconds that it took to build the period. So if you're looking at, and it's a Renko chart, right? So, but it's a flex Renko chart, so it's a little bit different than a regular Renko chart. I'm not going to go into the difference. It's just the way it's working right now. You can try it wherever you want, but so yeah, those are the two I have visible. And then if you look at study subgraph difference, the settings are looking at the a little bit different. It's looking at up, down, tick volume difference. Okay. It's looking between and then speed. So rather than using the delta, and so because these numbers, how can I explain this? I'm not going to get into it. It's you can try whatever way you want, right? But since I wanted to be able to look at what a regular condition was, and then identify speed changes. And I specifically wanted to know when the speed changes also result in the differences between up volume and down volume. So using tick volume versus bid ask difference is like, that's up to you. Like you can do it you could literally just pick whatever one you want, right? So if you want to do the the finished ask, oh wait, where is it? The one that's showing, oh, it's at the top. That's right. I remember now. So if you want to do SG1, you can do SG. Wait, so you could change it to SG1 and hit apply, and that this will change as a result. At least it should, unless it's well, maybe it won't. Maybe it don't matter. Yeah, no worries. It's okay. I thought it would, but it may not matter because everything is. If the spread is one tick, then it's not going to make a huge difference. But see it changed. See that little shift? It's not real big. I guess it changed before I hit there. See that? So I kind of like it moved over a little bit, right? So from doing, like I said, when I did my math, I decided that this was optimal for me, right? But you can do it however you want. So I have the bit-ass difference here, but I'm using the tick volume difference for the drawing. Okay, so big secret's out, right? That's all that is. I mean, it would have worked. It'll work just fine with these two also. I just like it this way better. So now, what is the shading, right? How do you make the shading? Because the line is neat, right? You can find divergences. You can do whatever you want with it. But the shading is going to hopefully make it even easier. So to do these, if you want it to be shading, you can do what is it? Background. Hold on, color. I think it's still color bar by so C and color bar on alert condition. And then I think there's one that can just do color background based on alert condition. You can use that if you want, or do color bar based on alert condition. I did color bar on alert condition because I never know if I want it to be just a background or if I want it to be a dot or a star. If you use color background based on alert condition, the only choices you have is to change the background color. So I use the color bar based on alert condition, and then just you can choose to do the background as your color bar. So there's two of these. One of them is going to be the bullish condition. One of them is going to be the bearish condition. So you have to add two studies, okay, and make sure you don't mix them up. And what you're going to do is, first of all, you can. I'm using to make it look just like this. You need to choose background transparent down here for draw style, and then you can pick your transparency and your color, whatever you want. It probably doesn't even have to be that low. I can probably see it at like 65 without any trouble. So whatever you want to do. I guess that's a little bit dark. Yeah, we'll do that. So that you know how it looks is one thing. You have to make sure that the output when condition's true. I'm using use input data, and then my input data is last. But if you want to do Renko close or Renko open to get a little bit different results, you can try that. Then I'm putting it in chart region 3 so that it colors the indicator's background rather than the background up here, because the numbers bars already have alerts for like limit order book changes and stuff, like pulling orders and stuff, and they're in the background here. So I didn't want to mess that up. So I was like, okay, I'll just have the alert show on the lower region. So you could pick 1 and it'll show up here, but I picked 3 so it shows up down here. You could show it on this one too, but I'm kind of hoping that by doing this I might actually be able to remove the actual graphs and just have the colors be like a dot or something on the price graph itself, but the price chart itself. But for now, it's going to be easier to see back here. So you don't have to worry about the rest of this, because as long as you put those right, it'll show up correctly. Then you need to make the alert condition. Okay, so what the alert condition is right now, which is very crude and simple, is basically that my subgraph study difference graph, the line, this green line, needs to be above 0, and is how you read this, and the VZO, the volume zone oscillator, also has to be above 0. So when both of those conditions exist, it's going to turn it white, right? But the way you write this, like that's what you think about it, is this and this. But the way you write this for the alert condition, it's in like C++, it's in like what's it called, like programming language, right? So you have to start it with an equal sign, and then you have to do and, which basically, and then a parentheses, open parentheses, then anything in here separated by commas are gonna, it's gonna only show up if every single one of these conditions are true. So right now, id7.sg1 is my study subgraph difference. Here, I'll show you. id7, see that? And then when you go here, subgraphs sg1, right? So id7.sg1 is greater than 0 will tell me, will turn it white whenever this is above 0. But by putting after that a comma, whoops, that wrong one. By putting a comma after it and then also referring to the volume zone oscillator, that was it. ID10, right? For the volume zone oscillator, the actual VZO is way down here. It's SG8. So that's the green and red line. So I'm going to, in addition to looking at this when it's above 0, I also want it to only show up when both this is above 0, ID7 SG1, and this is above 0, ID10 SG8, right? So if I want to add more conditions to this, for instance, if I want to know one really obvious condition, by the way, the inverse is just exactly the opposite. You just move the greater signs to less less than signs. But one easy condition, if you don't like how it like prints and stays on, one thought I had was that for the bullish one, ID0.SG22 is the open for a Renko bar. And so if you want it to do that the previous bar had to be bearish, in other words, the open for the previous bar, previous bar is like that. So bracket -1. So the previous open was greater than SG23. The previous, and then the previous close. Oops, but I got to get rid of, I made a mistake. I need this to be all the way over here now. The parentheses need to match. So if there's one here, there has to be one here. And no other parentheses have been opened, and all the brackets are closed. But what this is saying is the open of the previous bar was greater than the close, the Renko close of the previous bar. In other words, only show me this signal when the previous bar was bearish. So now all of a sudden we're going to see the whites disappear except for the ones where it turned. And all of a sudden we have less signals. So now remember, we used to have all of these signaling. Well, in my mind, this is too late to enter. So I might not really care about those anyway. Whereas when they come right after a bear bar, I might want to know about them, like this one, right? So all of a sudden, we don't have a lot of bull bars being signaled anymore, but we do get this one and this one, rather than having all of them be white. Now, that could create a problem, right? We might end up missing some really good trades by doing that, but I you know, like this. Oh, and then the other thing we can do is we could say, well, I wouldn't want it to buy here because that's a down bar. So it's like, oh, well, that's easy. Just tell it that in addition to looking for the previous bar being bearish, comma, I also want the current open to be lower than the current close. Now I'm only going to get notified of it when the current bar is bullish, and that gets rid of this signal and instead only shows us this one, which is much better, right? So if all you're looking, and right there, that might be pretty useful, right? This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, all gave us something. I mean, I don't know about you, but if you ask me, that's pretty cool. So let's see if the bear one can do something similar. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the part we added, right? This, and we're going to copy it. Then we're going to go to the bear bar. We're going to paste it, but we have to move the, we have to flip the greater than signs and less than signs, every one of them. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So that one, and this one. Wait, that should not be right. The previous, I messed it up. The previous bar, SG. Okay. So hold on. Previous close, previous open. We want to be less than the current, the previous close, but we want the current open. This is correct. Okay. Just had to think it through. So if they all disappear, we know we do it wrong. A lot of them disappeared. Did I make a mistake? I might have made a mistake. I might have missed a dot or something. Hold on. They shouldn't all disappear. This is normal. This is a process called debugging. So now we want to go through here and make sure all our commas exist. Like this. Because having a missing comma will take out every single one of them because it's looking for something that doesn't exist. Okay, there we go. So once you debug it, now we have this one signaling. Huh, that's right there. That's kind of cool. This one signaling. That one stopped first, but then it looked like the second one worked. They're not all going to work, obviously. This one signaled. Remember, that's the one I pointed out before that when they came up, they came so close together. In fact, with this one, we know also triggered, but it was bearish and then suddenly immediately bullish. It turns out that bullish move is a really big move, right? Generally, it's a squeeze. Nothing. Okay, bearish. That one worked, I'd say. And oh, that's right now. So here, let's go the other way then, where we have more signals. So here's another bear. Worked a little bit. Worked a little bit more. And then finally trailed out after getting a bull signal here. So maybe it would have flipped. But you can see we don't get very many of them. Oh, there's a bear. Right here. Right. And so again, remember what this is looking for is when both of these are dropping down and they're both under the zero line and the previous bar was going the opposite direction and the current bar is going in the direction of the trade we'd probably want to be taking there. So here it gets me on the end of this. Remember, they're coming on the close, right? So it's getting it here. That one didn't give you much. So that one kind of sucked, if you ask me. That's not a great place to short, right? Now, here's another one of these situations where you have back and forth, right? So we had, up here we had sell at the top. That's great. Happy with that. Sell at this top. That's nice. Sell here. That one gets totally destroyed, right? Sell here a little bit and then pull back, but doesn't stop out. We get another signal. That one gets really close to stopping out. In the meantime, we got a bull signal. Then the bull signal gets stopped out and we get a sell signal and then it breaks down heavily, right? So when it goes back and forth like this, which you don't remember, you don't know that until here, right? You don't know it's going to go back and forth. But I looking at this, what I see is that structurally, this is just a choppy area, right? So if you're not going anywhere and you haven't left the area before getting one of these signals, see how, like, let's look at like these two, right? Look at the difference here. Just structurally, if we got this, if this is live, right, and we're looking at this, we had a nice signal here, along with some divergence on a different time frame. This is divergence on this time frame. That's right. That signal corresponds with this immediate sell, beautiful sell, right? Then we get another sell signal, but we haven't really retraced much, and we haven't broken down underneath this sell, this low. I mean, it's just like a little. It looks like maybe we'll continue is what it's kind of saying, right? So the very next bar does go a tad lower. And the next bar go here. Let me zoom in now that you see the whole thing. But see how these do go slightly lower after the sell. But then this one closes. It's green on the left, so you can see that it closes higher. Whereas these are red. It's hard to see because of the numbers, but up here is green, right? So that one is the close at the high. And while it didn't stop you out, remember your stop is up here. It did go past the. See your entry is here at the close of this red bar, right? And so it got through. It maybe went a point and a half, and then flipped and hit and said bullish above your entry. So you would have had to decide how to deal with that, right? And then eventually it does stop out the bear, and the bull doesn't stop out. See that? And it actually extends significantly. So once again, when you have more than one, like they switch colors nearby, it's not always the second one. But the way to think about it, I believe, it looks like, is it's probably the last one. So if it keeps flipping back and forth, you're probably trading in an area that's chop, 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 chop. But the idea is if you get a sell signal and you're not at resistance, you're like kind of at support, yeah, you might want to wait and skip that one, right? And then see if you get a bull, because the bull in that case has the potential to be a really big move because we are at support. So as an example, let me show you what this looks like on our charts if you're in the room. So if we're looking at the 6 tick at this exact same time, what it's telling us to do is it's saying, hey, you're getting a bearish signal here, right? But if I look at this structure, if you know how trade and perform trades, this is not where we try to short. We want to short this X bar right there. We want to short this diamond. We probably wouldn't get that one, but that range, right? We'd probably see the diamond and then short the star. But one way or another, it's not in the location. It's at support, right? So, I don't know, Quan. No idea, but glad you're here. I mean, like I said, I'm happy to share, and it'll be on YouTube if people want to watch it. It's kind of a weird time of night, to be honest. Hopefully, you're getting something out of it. If you're out there, you are the only one. I'm happy to answer some questions. But yeah, what I'm thinking is that this is not a great place to sell. But then you can see when we get the buy signal, which occurs here on the very next 6 tick. On the very next bar, you can see that one looks like a much better decision, right? When you look at risk reward, I have a much better opportunity up here. My opportunity cost is better, right? I got a target way up here, whereas my sell target is what? Like the support right here? Like that doesn't make sense. Why would I sell this to get this when I have to risk at least one bar? You know, I'm taking out 5 points risk to get like 2 points. Whereas on this one, it's triggering at 40, 12, 25, and my target is way up here at like 40, 21, and I can put my stop at 40, like 40.08. So it's like a 4-point stop for a 10-point gain, right? So I'd much rather wait for the bull here rather than sell the bear, and then you can see that it comes up into this area. It gives us a pretty reliable sell signal on my charts. And at this point, nice. We already got another one on this time frame. So on this time frame, it actually gave us a sell here. This might be easier to see on the 4 tick because this is pretty fast. Oh yeah, the X. That's great. Okay, cool. So it tells us buy this, sell this. That's pretty sweet, actually. That's all right. I'm okay with that. And then sell, 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 sell. The first buy is here. What does that look like on our chart? Oh, wait, we did this. No, it's exactly the same situation. We did this one. Got a buy, got a sell. I would have thought it was this one, but it's actually this one with the arrow is where the buy's coming in. And that does look like a support, right? High or low, potentially. And a trap, if you look at, you know the setups. You've got an apex, get under the apex, immediately come back with a bar. That would be here. And then it tried to take it, and it couldn't even take that low. Right? So if this next part's, I was going to say, if this next part's up, I like it. It's not. Oh, wicked. So that one does not work. Right? Because this one gave us a buy signal. Now, when did it tell us to get out of it? Right there. So it said get out at 40.11.25 after triggering long at 40.13.25. So the good news is it's a 2-point stop. The bad news is, you lose 2 points if you were watching carefully. And you could probably get out right there. And that's what I was thinking too. When I saw this at first, just knowing the algo, I was like, yeah, the arrow's nice, but I need something more. So I'm gonna need to see a pink bar or something continue here. And then I'm looking here at this volume. I'm like, really? I want to buy that? I don't know. But I'll see what happens. And it's like, no, it's bearish. But I wouldn't sell this personally because that's not really a breakdown. I have no reason to sell it, but I don't like it as a buy anymore, right? This looks all right. This is like, oh, F. Like, nope. And then there's where it's like, oh, actually, this might break down. Right, and then it does. And then what I would do usually is look for a pullback buy. So let's see if it, or sell. So let's see if it gives me a pullback sell up here. Because that's what I normally look for. Let's see if that, I don't know if it does. It might be a horrible idea, but normally I'm looking for a pullback sell. Yeah, I think I missed it. I don't think it, there, it's triggering here. That seems awfully late. Let's see, what's up with that? Yeah, totally, scalping, absolutely. Now, this may be useful in the higher time frame. We can look. But I'm a pure scalper. So I scalp futures with leverage. So I'm looking on ES, honestly, Quan, I'm making 3 to 5 points and trying to get like a 70% win rate, basically. And I don't want to risk more than 4 or 5 points. And then if occasionally my runners go to 10 points, I'm thrilled, right? Because my win rate's strong enough and so like I can take a bunch of little scalps and some of them are going to work for way more than that. So but it's very possible that this same concept, we can look, might work on a higher time frame. The hard part is then your risk gets bigger because no matter what, as that bar increases in size, you're not necessarily going to know you're wrong until that entire area gets reversed. So oftentimes there is a what is it called? Like it becomes unscalable, right? Whatever, I forget what the name for that is. There's a name for when like an idea is like unscalable, other than just saying it's unscalable. But it's like if you go too far, if you zoom too far out, you're not gonna, unless you want to risk a huge amount on every trade, which I can't. It's just you'd only be able to do it with a very small size, basically. Hold on real quick. Gotta answer this real quick. Okay. So let's see. What was I saying? Yes, you could technically try this on a higher time frame. Here. I'll show you how I'd find out. So what we would do is we would duplicate the chart. Okay. And then it's going to take a minute to download it. And then what you might try is right, it's going to be exactly the same. So first of all, we're gonna change this and rename it order flow 12, and then rather than having it be flex Renko 642, we're gonna go to chart settings, and we're gonna double under bar period. We're gonna double each of these numbers so that the proportions are the same, but the numbers are bigger. And then we're going to apply and then hit OK. And now we'll find out like very quickly, like, is it the same idea? Is it totally useless on a higher time frame? But like I said, what you're going to see is that the stops are going to become very big because the bars get bigger. Okay, so let's back up to like the open. It's also possible that it doesn't trigger very often on a higher time frame. I've seen a lot of signals do that too. So here's the open. I get a nice divergence up here. That's kind of cool. When those get stopped out and trapped back in other words, when you get behind them, but they don't find any more buyers and it sells, those are great trades. Great trades. And especially when it happens in this higher time frame. So anyway, little divergence there. Okay, and there's our sell. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that delta. Well, oh yeah, it's the open. I was like, wait, what? Hold on, not short that. No, that makes sense. I did not short the open. In fact, I was buying before the 30 minutes was over. But the first 30 minutes, I mean. But I did wait a good 15 minutes at least. So that works. Okay, let's see what there's another short, supposedly. That does not feel very comfortable because my target's here. So look, the stop has to go above the bar, right? So stop is like 40, 21, 50 maybe. My entry is 40, 15. So we're getting, I mean, that's not horrible. It's not horrible, but it's getting close to like, I gotta start taking smaller size. Okay, does this break down? Wow. Okay. Wait, what did this look like on my 6 tick? Or my 10 tick? Let's see here. Bring this back to where it belongs. Right. Man, where's the other one? Not in the right place. Okay. 6 tick Renko. All right. I'm in the right spot, right? Yeah. So on the Renko chart, did I have a signal here? Not a great one. Nope. I would not have shorted that. That's fascinating. Okay, what about on the 4 tick? Tiny time frame? Nope. Not really. Other than, I mean, not a really high odds setup, anyway. Nothing super bearish about that. Like, wow. And this is like short in front of the breakdown. Let me try a 10 tick. Oh God, it's so busy. Oh, hold on a second. Something's not right here. Did this get messed up when I moved? This is not supposed to look like this. So wait. Did I? Oh, is that the one we just created? No, I call it like order flow. 12. Yeah, that's this. So why did this? Hold on, real quick. I know what it is. It's chart settings. These are linked for some reason. Linking. Symbol, bar period. Studies, no. Okay, so then I should be able to go here. This looks ridiculous. And what in the world? Okay, let me just try this. Oh, bar period. Wait. I see what's wrong. Fuck. Hold on. Can I get out of this? I gotta save this. Okay. I gotta fix this. Studies. No, studies. We need to save this. All our work. I don't want it to be fucked up by this other one. Okay. It just moved, right? Yeah, it just moved. So, alright, so what I want is chart settings, symbols, scroll position, no bar period. Good. Okay, so now on this one, I need the same. And then we can switch it. So, linking. Yeah, there's the problem. Studies. Switch that to no. Scrolling symbol. That's fine. So now, when I switch it, oh, I got to switch it to, oh, let's see what happens. Fixed. Cool. Okay, so what I want to know is on the order flow, where was that cell? It was at the open, right? Oh, I passed it. Where the hell is it? Where'd it go? Oh, did I lose it? What the? Oh no, it's down here. I found it. Forgot. I was looking on the chart and I was like, where is it? Oh wow, I've got to fix that. Here, let me turn this off real quick. This needs to be hidden. It doesn't make sense to do it on a big time frame. There we go. Okay. Oh. Well, now what happened? What did I do? Oh, weird. So I need that to be open to be able to see this? Okay, whatever. That's fine. So it's this one. All right, so I want to see on the 10 tick. Yes, 10 tick. Was there a setup here? Not really. See, we got the star down, but we had made a higher high here, and there's no pink bars between that high and this high. So it's not sellable, in my opinion. Oh, maybe that's a good thing. Wait a minute. So why does that lift, but this works? Something's confusing me. Oh, I see. It only works for like it looks big on here, but this only goes, it triggers at 70 and it goes to 65. And so the 10 tick is so big. ES 10 tick. Can't see. 8 tick. Where the hell did it go? 6 tick, 8 tick. CL 10 tick. No. Where the hell did I just put my ES 10 tick? Where did it go? That's weird. I was just looking at it. It just disappeared. What? 8 tick. Where the hell did? Oh, it's here. Why did it go way over? I must have accidentally dragged it. Sorry. That was weird. Okay, so here 70 I said to 65 or something. So it triggers inside this bar at 70 right there. And then it just closes the bar at 68.25 and goes a little bit further. See that? But it doesn't even make another bear bar on this time frame because it's so big before reversing. So here, if you took that trade, you'd have your stop at like 76, and you'd be getting in at, you'd be triggered at 70, right? So you'd have a 6-point loss because you'd only get, well, unless you were just looking for, I guess if you got out, if you were really scalping and you didn't, but why would you get into this unless you thought that this would break? I don't know why else you'd sell that. But anyway, so it does not set up on the 10 tick, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so this is obviously very zoomed in still, because really it's triggering on these, some of these are really big, right? But some of them are like 5 points. But here's this condition again. Bear, bull, right? So even if you sold this, like if you were really aggressive and you just sold it anyway, and then you got stopped out or told to reverse, you probably should, as long as they happen right here apparently, because look at this. And then but see, look, this is what happens sometimes then. Sell, immediately says buy, immediately says sell again, and you get 5 points. Oh, it actually doesn't stop out. Does it? Does it not stop out? Oh, it's not bad. It's not that bad, actually. That's not. So it's literally just the last one. So only sell, only buy, only sell is really the way to think about it. And then the question is does it set up, right? So on the 4 tick, this is saying, let me move it so we can see both. On the 4 tick, it's saying, it's saying here, only sell. Well, that's a sell signal, pink bar, star, right? So it's aggressive just to short this. And honestly, this doesn't really look like a very good place to short because this is really strong. And it's like 50 seconds after the open. So it's not what I'm usually doing, but it looks like it's saying it's probably going to work, right? And then right here, when this closes is 75, so it's a little bit above this, they're saying, never mind, go ahead and buy it, right? So cover the short, basically at break even if you're still on your runners. Because this paid me. See that, like, from here to here is enough to get my first profit take out, which is like usually 3 points. And then I try to take some at 5, and I'll hold the last one as long as I can. But here it's saying flip, but it's not doing it till 75.25, so you don't quite know here. And the signal would be a pink bar. There we go. So this would be your buy. And then you get, what would you get there? You'd get 73 to 75. That would not do it for me. If it doesn't go any higher, that would be a stop. Oh, never mind. It's good. Oh, I don't know. Close. Getting in here based on just this. Normally I can just buy this, but this didn't trigger until 75. So I'm going to say we didn't get in until 70. Oh, wait, if it's getting us in at 75, that's really not, that's definitely a stop. If we wait for this signal, that's late. That's here. I would not buy that. I would not buy 75.20. That's when this triggers. 75.25. It's not this one. It's the next one. No, I'm not buying that. No way. No risk reward. No way. So that's fine. And then it says sell again. and I get a speed bar. And that's just, wow. Now, usually with the speed bars, once they get a drop, if you think it's still bearish, when it comes back up here, you can sell it. But the caveat that I'm finding, which is kind of neat, is if there's a purple bar in this wave, you can't put a bull POC above it. In other words, that yellow line, which connects all the dashes, it can't get above the highest purple bar, which is here. So in other words, it works better when the purple bar is here, not here. When it's here, all of a sudden, this is not bearish anymore. Because now we've gotten that little dash. See the dash right there? It's above the high of the purple bar. And now the sellers are going to usually have trouble reversing this. Now this time it sounds like it might work. Oh, interesting. So they only do it with a pink bar, and then the very next one is star. And then does it drop? Oh, it kind of wiggles. Then it drops. So normally I would expect this to not work, because we got a bull wave, a bull bar with the VPOC above the purple bar. But this is literally 5 minutes after the open. So, you know, it's not everything works all the time. But that's usually a pretty safe filter with these speed bars, is if you're going to take the pivot, but you put in a purple bar down here, if you get over that purple bar, and especially if you like hold it like this, like you kind of pull back and reject off of it, I'm expecting this to lift. Or at least not immediately reject here. But this is how they work when you don't have a purple bar in the way, is they become a pivot and it rejects. So, but like, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So anyway, there's no long down here on this, but that short clearly paid you back even if you would have taken this super aggressive buy and lost 5 points or whatever it was, you did make it back right there. So that's good. Okay, so here's another one. When did this trigger? Oh yeah, so here's another speed bar. So let's see if this one works. So speed bar. Like I said, I'm normally not selling them right away. I want the purple bar to be right here, or to have no purple bar at all, and then to come back and retest there. Otherwise, I'm just going to wait. So it came back, it tested, and it rejected. That might be good enough. Pink bar, orange bar, that's a sign of weakness. And we've got a speed bar acting as resistance. So this one might actually work. Yeah. Yep. So that's what I want. See how there's no bars at all, but there's no purple bars in the way. I've got a speed bar. I came back up, it became resistance, and I get a sign of aggression. You could do this one too. Because bears are in control of volume now. You can look at the volume zone oscillators totally falling down below the zero line. The bears are gaining volume here. And they've almost overcome this. On a smaller time frame, they probably have. So I can sell that. But it certainly helps to know way back here, that, hey, you might want to be a seller. So maybe I can go back to selling speed bars again if it has this signal. I don't know. That's the second one where it works. Oh wow. Oh, never mind. That's my own. That's something else. I thought I was like, wow, it got the high and the low of the rotation. Nope, that's something else. That's the trade I took. That's the trade I took this morning. Okay, so before I had this signal. Okay, so it gave me this one. It said buy this. I mean, I'm usually waiting for a pink bar. This one triggered at 39.80, so it doesn't quite know yet. It still doesn't know. So I would normally buy this, but there's no way I would buy 39.80. No way would I buy that. Look, because with resistance here, not my trade. Let's see if it works. It certainly does. Okay, cool. It seems to work pretty well, even for those breakouts. Okay, any more? That's pretty neat. So let's see that one. Volume got bearish. You can't buy those anymore. Okay, no signal on the numbers bars. This divergences are really fun. So this background here, though when you beat them, they usually become support and resistance. So, for instance, when you beat them and reclaim them. So, divergence here, delta divergence there. They got somewhere with it. So they beat the divergence because it was a bullish divergence, but bears were in control. They beat it, right? They put in a speed bar next to it. What you would expect is they come back up here and reject, right? But what ended up happening is instead, and we even got divergence here too, right? So that makes sense to sell that. We didn't get any indicator here. And what you see happens is they actually reclaim right here the divergence bar. Here, let me fix this. This is supposed to be right there. So by this point, we've clearly reclaimed it, right? What happens now is this becomes support. Usually. I don't remember if it does or not, but yeah. See that pullback? And then we get the box and the dot right here. That I added there today because of this wick. And this behavior is really common. They actually did it twice. And now it does not always work a second time, but this one set up a second time. See that? Got me another rip here. Now I took it in NQ and it didn't set up quite the same. The second one was not lined up as well, but on ES it was beautiful. I gotta sell. So on the numbers bars at 39.83.25. Oops, that's NQ. It seems like the 4 tick is working really well. We'll stay at that. Oh my god, too many. Where the hell did it go? Okay, this. 4 tick. There we go. Okay. So it says sell 39.83.25. Oh, right here. Okay, I have no reason to sell that personally, but it says to do it. Let's see what happens. It gets immediately stopped. Interesting. Oh, wait. Maybe it's not. No, it did. Interesting. So they're saying so to trade it. Oh, this is tricky. So because this is a big time frame, a 12 tick time frame, you'd have to put your stop up here at like 89.75. Way up here. You'd have to put your stop way up here. But they want you to, it's saying to enter at 83.25, right? So like there. I guess it's still 5 points. It just looks like a lot because I'm on such a small time frame here. What does it look like on the 6 tick? Yeah, I would have needed it to be pink. This looks right. Volume is definitely. Bears are definitely in control. We got the X. I want that one personally. That's the one. That's the short I want. But see how it becomes resistance? That little dash right there becomes really important. That level, I marked it here too. But that level becomes really important. If you reject it with the sign of volume or with the sign of aggression like this, it's really strong. It's not always immediate, but it's really strong. So it was a little late, and it didn't have a pink bar. I would probably wait. Let's see if we get a proper setup. I'm sorry, not a pink bar, a purple bar. We're going south. So you could short that. Yellow box, purple bar, going in the same direction. Let's see if it sets up better. Oh, pink bar, orange bar. That's okay. It's not in the right spot though. We want it up here. Does it? Oh, right there. Pink bar, orange bar. What does it say to do about this? Yeah, good. We get another sell. This is where I want to sell. Is right there, right here. Pink bar, orange bar, at the resistance. See, because remember this level, it's not a brick wall, but it's expected to be defended. Like anytime they get up here, they should immediately aggressively defend it, because this X says that someone put a lot of energy in to this bar, and it actually went somewhere. They're gonna, if it gets broken, it could squeeze. So they're gonna defend it. And this, I'm almost certain this works. I remember it. Yeah. Okay. So they do it again. This happens. They steal liquidity. They set it up again. Pink bar, star. Just as good. Oh, that one fails. Oh, wow, we got the buy. Look at that. Okay. When did that come in? That's kind of neat. When did that come in? Oh, too far. Right here. 93.25. Okay, so somewhere in here. Let's check on the 4 tick. 93.25? Right there. Yeah. The only thing I see here is if buyers would have been in control of volume, which they weren't, I'd say this looks like a good entry. But I wouldn't take it because buyers, this bar was too big. And buyers haven't really shown up since back here. Although we did go higher than that and came back into that area. That's interesting. I don't know about that. But that would be the only spot I really see something tradable here. We have what we're looking at is speed bar and then sellers giving up. So you're basically banking on a squeeze and a breakout. And that's just, I usually just don't take that trade. But it seems to work when it triggers like this. Brown or gold, white, right next to each other. That pattern, that's like the third time we've seen that work as a breakout. And it's not a small breakout. I mean, that went from, what was the level? 93.25. And the MFE was like 97.75. It's not huge, but it's something. Oh, it goes higher. It keeps going. Oh, 4,000. Okay, that's better. So a good 7 points. That's a nice run. Did it signal short? No. It says it signals more buying. Okay. Where's the more buying come in? 97.25. So not till late. That's when it says buy. Like, again, not my style. Let's see if it works. No. That one straight up fails. Big time. And then they say buy. So we'd have to take a look and say, okay, is there something we could do to avoid this? Well, the really obvious thing I see right away is that this green line is way above the 0 line. Like way above it, right? And it's higher than it's been like for a long time. So it's possible that the very best entries are those that are produced when this line is not like quote unquote overbought, right? But that's probably a relative term. I imagine it's been higher than that earlier. Let's check. Is that like the highest it's ever been for the whole day? Oh, it is. That's the highest it's been for the whole day. Okay, so don't buy the breakout well, what about the other breakout that worked? This one. Difference was 932. That's still awfully high, right? This one was 1849. So it was twice as high. So if we put a line at like 1,000, give or take, like this, right? And we just to have a visual reference here, if we say, okay, how do you do if you take the white bars that with the green line below the green, the green indicator below the green line would be a buy. But when the green indicator is above the line, it'd be a sell. That would be very easy to code, okay? As long as the level stays the same. If it's relative to other things, it gets more complicated. But let's see, how would that do, right? Just as a totally just random idea. Okay, here it was 987. So it's still below. So that one said buy. That breakout works. Okay. This one clearly below. That is not a breakout. This was the one that flipped. So it certainly doesn't save you from that. There might be another way to do that, but okay. This one is clearly lower. We're nowhere near that now. And most of these worked. So we had one stop and all the rest were good. Now this one looks really high. 943. It's up there. Does that one work? That one works. It's okay. This one is kind of high. 697. How does that go? That's great. Okay, no, none of those signaled. There's one. See that? Let's see if that one fails. Okay. This was what 1357. It works nicely. So that might be a totally flawed idea. That might be totally wrong. Or there might just be more to it. It clearly doesn't happen very often. Here's another one. 2189. Really, really high difference between basically delta and speed. So very slow, but huge delta. Mostly just huge delta. And that gets really choppy and rolls over. So that one it saved you from. That's good. Oh, here's another one. 1234. What does that do? Totally works. Okay, so I would not say it's as simple as don't take them if they're above 1,000. Not that simple. Yeah, these ones, when they're right next to each other, huge. Here's one. What's that do? Where the hell did it go? Okay. 1,038. Great. So I'd say no, that is not accurate. It works way more often, in fact, when it's high. So that's not the problem. So let's see. What does the volume zone oscillator look like down there? Maybe there's a line that needs to be considered there, right? Because if it's simple like that, then we can solve that problem very easily. So let's see here. That one works. Volume zone oscillator is at like 60, right at the top of that zone. This one works kind of. Volume oscillator's right about 60, right? Here I can turn on the volume zone oscillator values, subgraphs, display, name and value. There we go. Oh man, all these other ones are in the way. That's annoying. Because it's okay. Well, that's right. The other ones are never going to move, so that's just a little annoying that I can't just see this number, but whatever. It's because it's so low on the subgraph. It's SG8, so it's the 8th number that shows up here. But this is the one we care about. So here, VZO is still obviously above 0, otherwise we wouldn't know about it, but it just crossed the 0 line. Right? As did this one. So how does that do? Oh, it fails. It fails. So that's interesting. So when it just barely crosses, we might have an issue. It might have to be a little bit more than 0. Maybe 0 is not the right number. That's what that suggests. Okay, so let's see if that. No, but it did let us know about this though. When these are so close together, that cell is usually pretty good. Okay, so let's see if that's a similar pattern. No, there's that pattern again. See here, very close to the 0 line, 275, relatively close. This very close to the 0 line, 10. So just barely 0. Big rip. Okay. No pattern yet. 1234, so really, really high difference. And then this is 22. So just barely crossed the 0 line. How does that do? Rips. Big time. Okay. So let's get to some that stop. This one, it's like, oh, sorry, not 60, 40. So 41, just outside the green zone. Goes a little higher. This one is well outside the green zone, 54. And that one rolls over. So could it be that when this is too... Oh, is there divergence? There's bearish divergence on this one. That might keep you out. Okay. That's cool. Easy enough. 18, so VZO literally right next to the 0 line, and this one 307, so also pretty close, and it fails. So sometimes they fail because they basically test above the 0 line and then fall over. And that's like the second time we've seen that happen. But again, it does alert us that this brown one is pretty good. So what we might want to do, it looks like, is be more cautious if VZO is coming from below the -40 line, the black, and not the green, and it barely sneaks over. So when it looks like this in one bar, right where it started down here, we might want to be a little more cautious or color it a different color. So look at the difference between that. And now this one is very high and it had divergence, but the other one where it goes from 0 is here. See, this based above -40, it's within the green, and that one works great, right? This one based at the 0 line basically and bounced, and that one works beautifully. This one based under the -40 and it rolls. You guys, that might work, right? So let's say we want it to tell us with a color or whatever that while this bar is important because it alerts us once this comes in that this move might be pretty big, rather than just wanting this to disappear, we want to somehow color it a different color, right? We don't want it to totally be gone, but we want to know not to buy it, right? And the thing that's going to keep us from buying it is that the bar right before it, the VZO was below -40. So I still want to see it, but I want to know visually whether or not that's significant or not. So all you do, it's very simple. You're going to go to the color bar by alert condition study that is this one, right? The gray, which I called above 0. Okay? We're going to go to settings and we're going to hit set defaults. Or you can do that, or you can just go to this one and hit duplicate. Okay? So once you duplicate it, it's going to make a new one, but it's going to call it the exact same thing. So we need to go to settings and we need to change the name to, we'll say over -40. Let's see. What can we call this? Let's see. We could say VZO, or no, yeah, VZO. We're gonna point out the ones where they came from too low, right? So it's gonna be like a warning signal. So it's gonna be VZO oversold, right? So it got oversold and then tried to come above 0. Oversold, and then we'll say then greater than 0. You can call it whatever you want, right? Call it brown bar, whatever you want. So, but it's going to look exactly like this right now. So nothing's going to change, except if I change this background transparency. Oh, did I do the wrong one? Did I do the bear bar? I did the bear bar. What did I do? I changed the wrong one. Below 0. This one. There we go. Okay, so what happened here? Above 0. Alert is to the left. Make sure I just want to make sure I did this right. It didn't save my. This one should be the new one. Maybe it just didn't like that title. Okay, so move up this one, just so I don't get confused. And then I'm going to call this like we'll call it yield, right? Because we're going to be careful when that happens. We're going to change the background transparency. I mean, or you can make it a different signal if you want, like a star or something. Here, let's do that. Let's make it, rather than doing background now. Remember, this is why we did the color bar by alert condition. So rather than that, we're going to do, we're going to make it an X. A very clear yield sign, right? And we're going to make that X relatively large. And we're going to make that X red. No. Yeah, red. Okay, now look how far it is. It's way too high, right? So we need to go over here, and where it says draw style percentile ticks offset, you can change it there. Or if you want to fix it, the easy way to do it is where it says in output when condition true, you can change this to study subgraph reference. And then for the study subgraph reference, use this study, the difference, study subgraphs difference, and the actual difference. And now it's going to move right to that point. Or it should. There we go. So now the X happens immediately. Now, if you don't want it right on there, but instead you want it to offset a little bit, you can change this to like 10% higher. And it should, do I have to do something else? No, let's see. Draw style percentage ticks offset. Maybe because it's not price. Oh, percentage. What if I do number of ticks? Nothing. Maybe it doesn't work. I thought it would work down here, but it doesn't seem like it does. Okay. Oh, negative. Here. Let's try negative 10. Or what if I do like negative 50? I just want to know if it works. Nope, doesn't seem to matter. Okay, good to know. So if you use that trick of using the indicator itself, the value as the study subgraph reference, it's just going to put it right there. So that's fine. So that's going to be yield. We're going to call it bull yield. Yield. Yield above. I don't want to get confused with bull bear. Yield above. Okay. Then what we should see is a lot of these where it just barely peaks above the zero line and folds back over. When it comes from an oversold condition, they're going to have X's on them. See? And that way we know to maybe wait to see if we get the bear, because that one might not be ready. See, if you bought this, you'd immediately get stopped, but you'd get your money back on the short. But what I'm saying is, what if this is a common condition and I can find the ones that are here? I still want to know about it because it tells me I might get a bear sign coming. And if I do, I should take it, right? Because otherwise, this is just another bear sign. But this way it says, okay, I see this bull sign, but wait, yield. It's coming from a condition that I know often creates problems, right? That's the idea. Oh, I didn't change the alert, so it's going to do it on every one. That's right. Sorry. So, okay, now we have to, so that's how to make it, that's how to change how it looks, right? Now let's change what it does. So now what we need, we're going to go to the alert, and if we copied it from the right one, this is just going to be every single time we get a signal, the white background, it's going to give us an X. That's not what we want, right? We want there to be a signal, but in addition to that, so and, in other words, comma, we also want there to be, we want only when VZO ID 10.sg8 of the previous bar was less than negative or equal to, we'll say less than, negative 40. So when the previous bar was negative 40, I want it to give me an X. That's what so this X should disappear and the other one should stay there. So let's see if that worked. So this one does not filter out because this one before was not underneath the green zone. So that one, we'll have to find another way to filter, or maybe it's just a stop that we can't filter and that's okay. But this one here, we can filter out, right? And we also know to watch, we still have the white background, so we know to watch for this big cell, having the delta, and then this might be another hint though, right? That this big delta shift might also, might rather than, yeah, that might be another way to identify the flip. So see, this one had the flip, but we haven't done the bear one yet. But notice what happened. They were from way up there and they dropped. So this one would get X2 if we like this. We can apply it to the bear as well. And we would be warned about this one as well. So let's see if there's any more that are warnings. It's not there. Oh, nice. That's perfect. This one stopped out. The other one went. We were told to yield here and take this one. And then this one does not get yielded. And it works great. So far, so good. Right? It has not filtered out any trades that I wanted to take, although it doesn't show up. There's another one. Okay, there we go. Eventually, we're gonna get one that filters out one we want to take. Now this one, you can see it was making divergent lows. See how this made a lower low, but the VZO made a higher low, and then the next it came almost the zero line. It pulled back into this, made another hidden divergent low, and then ripped. And so, like I said, a lot of the times, if there wasn't a bear here, a brown one, this should be avoided apparently. But perhaps when there's a bear one before it, I would know probably not to short that because you're in the hole. And then we've said that's a condition that we kind of want to be watching for. So maybe even if that's got an X, it's okay. Okay, so like this, it didn't help us here. That's unfortunate. I was hoping that we might get some clarity here. Not yet, right? One thing I noticed here is we do have the delta divergence, right? This number is awfully big for a down bar. And so we got that red, and then that was immediately beat. And we got it really low. So that's interesting. But yeah, this little chop zone, not going to help us. Oh, we never moved this back here. So let's put the chart settings back to where they were before. And just see if anything changes. So 6, 4, 2. Apply. Now, it's possible that 12 was better than 6, right? I might not get very many signals now. I don't know. There we go. Okay. So it would not have filtered that one. And that one failed, right? It would not have filtered this one. That one won. It would not have filtered this one. This one won. It would have filtered the sell, and that one would have stopped. So we may want to go ahead and program the sell, the yield for the sell side too. There's just so many bars that okay, so this one, is that one a good one to get filtered out? Bullish divergence again. So if there's bullish divergence, it looks like we can still buy it even if it has an X on the VZO in particular, but here we had bullish divergence on everything. And so the X doesn't matter. You can have as big of a rip as you want there as long as there's bullish divergence, it works. Honestly, it looks like it works more often than it doesn't. That one was safe. Doesn't really filter very many on this time frame. Oh, there's one. Yeah, and that doesn't do much at all. Was there divergence? No. Right? Cool. So it might be able to filter that. And yet it doesn't filter this one. We get the divergence and it goes. That's nice. Okay, it does not filter this, but it just basically gets stopped out and trapped back in with divergence and it goes. So that's okay. Those are the kind of spots I would expect stops. This one gets filtered out. Let's see, how's this? Oh, wow. That's a huge one. Is there divergence? There's divergence here. Oh, there's my laundry. But not here. Is there divergence on a higher time frame, perhaps? No. Interesting. Why did this one work so well? Huh. There was definitely no reason to filter it out, that's for sure. It was right at the VPOC. Well, that's today's. That's right. That's not relevant. Because this is last Friday, and that VPOC probably didn't exist. Unless that's that VPOC, like developing VPOC, in which case that might have something to do with the fact that it had so much volume. Not sure about that, but that's unfortunate. And it doesn't filter out a lot of these. So maybe it's not the best, most optimal filtering tool. There might be a better way to do it, in other words. It does not happen very often. Here's one. Little lift, stop. I'm okay with not taking that. It got like 2 points and then rolled over. So that I like filtering those. And there's no divergence on the VZO, but there was divergence here on the subgraph difference, but there's divergence there a lot. It's a very fast indicator. It wiggles a lot, so you get a lot of those. Okay, we didn't do the bear yet because I don't even know if I like it yet. There, this one filtered out, and that one worked. Okay, this one filtered out, and that one worked. Yeah, I don't know if this is all that useful. That filter might not be the right filter. So for some of these ones that where it filtered it out and it worked anyway, this one had a ton of volume, of delta, right? Really positive delta. And the one before it was not that negative. Yet VZO was really negative. So that in and of itself is kind of a strange divergence. This one, same thing, pretty big here, but like not that deep red here. It wasn't this bright red, yet VZO was really low. So that may be a better, it may be that we may need another condition for this yield to exist. It may be that it needs to be underneath this and this calculated value, this bit-ass difference, may also need to be really, really negative. So let's see. What happens when that bit-ass difference is really negative, like bright red, right before the gray? Fail. No. And it goes. No. Not bright red. And it tries to go and fails, but that one got... Yeah, so... Oh, wait. It's not that bright red. And we're really low. So I'd say we would not filter that one out, right? That's what I'm thinking. It needs to be deeper red than that before I'm concerned about it. This is close. No, it's good. Let's see. Here's one. That one still works, but look, VZO is way up here. So it may only apply when VZO is also really low, which will have an X on it as it is. So I'm looking for ones with X's. So see these, look at that deep, deep volume, right? And it actually doesn't work. Deep volume doesn't work. Deep volume works barely. Deep volume does work. So it's not just yes, no. There has to be something more to it, such as, where was this? Or is it trending down? Is it trending up? Or what was this doing? You know? Or maybe something I'm not even looking at that could also filter it. And you never really know until you kind of try things. And then you got to eventually go back and check out other days and stuff like that. So this one's got deep red, and it was below zero. And that one ends up working really well. So that might not be it. Let's see, gentle red. Oh, barely stops out. Oh wow, this one had divergence. That's right, we saw that one. And then here's one that was really red before it, and that one failed. So it's not that simple. I'd say no. Not even a pattern yesterday and last week. So I'm not gonna use that. See, because look at this, big deep red, and it just keeps going. They just get trapped. So it's like if it works big, and if it doesn't work, I'm stopped out. So it wouldn't really matter, you know. But I definitely see when they're close together, and this is deep, like bright red. That second trigger is good. But look at this, like not that bright, and then really bright with the indicator, and it came off of really, really overbought, and it's the top. So, and here, this one worked anyway. So I don't think this is the right filter. My guess is it's not really even 50-50 with that X filter. So you got to go back to the drawing board and say, okay, well, what else could it be, right? Could it be the difference between the two of them, right? Could it be something on a higher time frame? Or could it be something like, are there any trapped shorts? See, the good news is I've got all these other signals, so I can tell it to refer to other studies and put X's there when, for instance, there's a star underneath it, right? Like I can do that because I've got all those other studies. But I don't think this is where we want that X to be. I don't think it's quite in the right spot. And I don't have an immediate idea of what else to try. Unless someone else does. And we'll see if we can figure out a way to program it. But for sure, most of them work. Some of them don't. But I don't think the X's, I mean, it does filter out some of the stops, but it's filtering out too much, and it's not filtering out half of them. So, like this one, I don't really want to miss that, you know? Let me just see what does that look like on the 4-tick. Yeah. I don't know, it's too far back to get signals on the 4-tick. What about the 6-tick? 6. Do I have signals here? I do. Is there? So that signal, wait, which one is it? Yeah. That signal is 3996.75. So it happens during this diamond bar. Usually higher lows with diamonds are good as long as it's really bullish. If it gets a pink bar after, it's definitely an entry. But at that point, it's kind of late. So it's actually saying enter in this inside of here. Oh yeah. Wow. So what's going on there? That'd be nice to know what I mean, it did give me a signal. But why is this one so big and this one like didn't do anything, right? And why didn't that give me an X? Oh, it did. It's probably just too high to see. No, I'm kind of surprised that didn't give me an X. Glad it didn't, but not sure why. Okay, well, I'm not sure. Again, it's nice to have all the raw data, but you don't necessarily have the right data. The one thing I see right away is that the difference between these two, right, the amount of energy that they put into this and the fact that we're in a downtrend, that's a really high delta, right? Yet this is not very high because speed is really low. So what I may need to do is make another difference graph and do like a slightly like rather than saying the difference between delta and speed, do the difference between like speed now and delta the last bar, or of the difference in the angle or the yeah, probably the easiest way to do it would be to do the to get the derivative. So like see the chart would show, the drawing would show the angle of the rate of change from one to the next on both of these, and then you'd compare. You'd take the difference. I'm pretty sure you take the difference of one angle to the other. So you're saying how much did delta increase and how much did speed increase, rather than just saying speed delta minus speed compared to delta minus speed, right? The equation, because of like order of operations and all that stuff, the result will be slightly different. and there may in other words it just may be an incomplete signal. There may be one more aspect that really is needed to get it good enough to really use. But still, I mean, in a way, like if you just think about it, like I can see it. Like I know I'm not a buy. Where was that? I'm not normally a buyer here. Yet this is saying, hey, you can buy this. And it's like, no, 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 I'm not buying that. No, thank you, right? But this is normally the kind of thing I would look for if I wanted to look for resistance, like to get out of a trade. But it's saying, but then here it does actually trigger again for the second time. And this time it's a huge rip. So that resistance fails. So it's almost like it's warning me that like the entry might be not right now, but if we can take that high, it's going to rip big time. Right? So that might be the way to think about some of these. So where's the other one that did that? This one right here. Or is this the same one? No, this is another one. So look, this is like, wow, that's really, it's kind of like a breakout, and it's a speed bar. Like usually I want a pullback into this zone, yet I'm getting a buy signal right here. So rather than just buying it, since I know it's so high up, the way I might want to think about it is, okay, I'm going to mark that area, probably up to this high, right, like here. And if I can break through this, it's probably going to go a lot higher. And then it does. And then once it breaks out, it does give you a wick to get back in really close to that range of that speed bar. I don't know if it gives you another one. No. Does it work later? It does work later. That's right. Well, that's cool. What about the other one? Does the other one work later? Because that would be freaking awesome. This one, right? Is this it? Yeah, this is it. Oh, it's basically, it's the same zone. It's the same exact thing. It's the same spot. It's the same spot. Okay, so it was this one. Right here. So does this zone, I can get rid of these. Does this zone, it's from a different chart. It says to buy at 4,000. So like, and then the bottom of that is 97. So it's basically these two bars. So once we beat that, does it become support later? That's the question. So we beat it. It doesn't pull back to it right away. Get rid of this one so we're not confused. Does it come back and test that? I don't know if it does. Holy shit. Okay. Well, that's cool. Is there a buy signal down there? There's not. But wow. So there was a buy signal here. And like I said, I knew to be a little cautious here because just the structure is like, what? I'm not going to be a buyer way up here. But once we leave the area, they are trapped short there. And the pullback in that zone is perfect. Like almost to the tick. And we get purple bar, diamond, pink bar. Beautiful setup. And it just absolutely just rips. Shit. Okay, well, let me see if that works on the other side. And God, I wish I could know what the condition is that, how can I describe that? It's like, it's not in a spot I want to buy, you know? It's like too close to resistance, I guess. There was bearish divergence, but only on this little one. I'm not sure how to describe that. This had rejected out of the zero line. It is a lower high. What is going on here that's not going on here? And there's a lot of ways to look at it, but I don't know how to tell trying to figure out how to tell Sierra chart what the difference is. I can see the difference, but like, what's the mathematical difference? You know? Had divergence. This was a great sell. That's perfect when they all line up like that. And like I said, I already know not to sell this. But I wish I could make this like an X or something. This is definitely divergent. Natural divergence. And it doesn't break that high. But I don't know how to refer. We don't know how far back this peak is going to be. It'll change. I'll have to think about that one. Well, this is getting pretty long. Hopefully this has been interesting. Like I said, I'm not going to use this to trade, but I'm gonna explore it and get back to you guys. But now that you guys know how to build it, if you want to mess around with it, feel free. One thing that I thought might be fun is to overlay these signals on another chart. So for now, first of all, I'm gonna hide the yield sign. Where the hell did it go? 13. What the hell? 642. Where's the yield sign? I built it. Did I not? Did I build it on the other one? Oh fuck! I forgot I had 2 of these. Ah, okay. Yeah. Okay, so this one I could either delete. Ooh, you know what might be fun? Should we see if it works on NQ? Let's see if it works on NQ. Why not? I don't think I'll mess anything up. Chart settings. Linking. And this can be none. Shouldn't mess it up. Okay, and then, oh wait, here, let me just save real quick. Save. And then I'm going to save the studies, but I'm going to hide this because it's not right. And I'll fix it. It'll remind me. Save all. Okay, and then we're going to apply it to the one we're going to use because this one doesn't have the X's. So we're going to apply it here. And now the X's won't show up because we disappeared them. So we hid them. So now on this one, since we probably don't need 2 of these, let's go to chart settings and let's go to symbol. And we're going to change this to NQ. Now I'm on CQG, so mine is ENQ, but it's NQ. It's the same thing. Okay, but we don't want it to be this small. We want the bar period to be more like more like 24, 12, 6. Let's try that. So we'll do 24, 12, 6, and Q. And we'll see what it looks like. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I made a mistake. Futures, is it not ENQ? EP. ENQ. I don't know what I drew. March. Okay. Apply all. I must have put like a space in there or something. Yep, there we go. Okay. So now everything's the same. It's just NQ instead. Let me hide these. Hide. Because apparently hiding the whole thing makes the whole thing disappear. I don't know why. But there we go. Okay, now, how do these line up? Do they not work at all? Do they work well? That's the question. Quickly. Then I'm going to go to bed. because it's late. So we can look at a big picture. What day is this? Friday. That's fine. So way back here, we'll go back to Friday open. And let's just see if we blindly traded these signals, how we do. Well, we'll do 15 minutes after the open because I would never really trade the open anyway. All right, so here's the first one with divergence. We get sell divergence, sell signal. It immediately gets beat. And what we said was when that happens, that area may be, here we're going to change this. NQ, so I don't get confused. Flow 24. Okay, and then we're gonna see what the 24 tick looked like here. We're gonna say, okay, we got this sell signal. It's at resistance. I would think it would work, right? But if it doesn't, let's see if it becomes resistance later. Oh, what? Oh, they're not linked. The linking is 15. There we go. Did it jump me forward? It jumped me forward. Damn. Okay. So I got to go all the way back to Friday. And 840 something. Right here. So sell divergence, sell signal on the indicators. Oh shit, what is up with this? Why doesn't this show up? That's weird. Well, let's see. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I don't really need it, right? I don't, but I'd like to see it. I have no idea why it's tiny. This way. It should just have the 0 line on it. I don't know why it's getting shrunk like that. I'm not sure. One way or another, this is the spot that it said sell, which is here. It's 43 at 11,416. So yeah, like saying sell all the way down here, right? Which I wouldn't do. So instead, mark the area, and if we beat it, then reclaim it and get under it. Let's see if it becomes resistance. Okay, beat it. Didn't really reclaim it. They tried, they rejected. And do they retake it? No, we didn't come back that far. So we don't know yet. All right, so that's fine. We'll find out. That's just a stop for now. Okay, so this one, 11,431. So right here, that does look like a valid setup. The risk reward isn't very good, but it's a valid setup, and it does go lower. Cool. All right. 11,431. Yeah. All right. Next one. I'm looking here for signals. I might go too fast. Okay. In this one, it said to buy. Again, is this an area that I'm immediately thinking I want to be a buyer? Probably not. So let's mark it and see if maybe it becomes support. If broken. Okay, so they try, and then they get purple bar star. That's pretty good. And we get another indicator here. So this one looks like it failed on the Flex Renko, right? If you took it immediately. But I didn't get it. I don't have an entry there. But here I do, purple bar star, and that one does trigger. That triggers at 48. This closes at 48. Let's see if that works. Oh, it sure does. Okay, now it triggers again at 64. 64, way up here. it triggers again. So if we can reclaim that high, does it become support in the future? I would never buy it the first time because I have no indicator to buy it. But let's see. I reject it again. Okay, so we definitely lost it. Oh, there was a sell in here. It was 858 at like 11,456. Yeah, I don't really have one. I'm not gonna sell that. Okay. Do we get over this? Yes. Reclaimed. Does it become support? Yeah, sure does. Twice. Look at that. That's cool. That's neat. Okay. Not too many signals. Here's another one. This one occurs here at 76.75. So inside of this bar. It's too late. I would have taken this back here. This one triggered quite a bit too late. Let's see if they beat it. I mean, it tries to go down and then they beat it. And I doubt they reclaim it. But if we want to check, it's like that. So if they get under that and then come back up and reject it, it's probably a short. Because this was in here. Now look, we got this white then red, right? That we saw on the ES. That was often a good signal. And it was absolutely horrendous this time. It didn't do anything on NQ. But let's see, this was the last sell was here. It said sell. I would not sell that personally. I don't have a sell signal. But let's see, does that become resistance if we get under it? I don't think we... Okay, under it, resistance, 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 and then rips. It tries, it's not really successful. Okay. So it's not like that works every time. But that is interesting. Okay, so here's another one. So we have a buy here. That's too high, in my opinion, to buy. It's at 505. Like in this bar. Probably not buying that. Rejects. Gets over it. Comes back and bounces off it with a star. Does that continue? No. Gotta be careful here. There we go. Does that do it? No. So it doesn't mean it's just gonna rock it just because you broke over it and came back into it. It does give you some scalps though. That is interesting. Okay, here's another one in this time frame. Buy at 508. So in this bar, and it's it's a trap. It's scary though. We're right at resistance. Yeah, it does work. Okay, cool. All right, here's a double. So it says buy and then immediately sell again. So I would definitely not be buying here, but I might try selling this if I thought it was bearish. Let's see if that works. Oh, it definitely does. That's cool. But you'd really have to have the read because look, it's like buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. So what that suggests to me is that this time frame may be too small. Getting this many of these back and forth, back and forth, back and forth might mean that this is just too small of a time frame. Because look at where I'm getting this sell. Like, that one worked great. But like, these are not as good as they were on ES. And this one's early. It definitely works better on ES. So let's try doubling, right? Like we did before. Par period. 48. 24. 12. So now these are going to become much bigger, and hopefully we'll get less signals. Let's just see. Okay. Back it up a bit. Oh, this is Friday already. All right, this is all messed up. I don't know what's going on here. There we go. There we go. Now it's working. Okay. So Friday open right here. I want to do like 45 minutes after the open. We'll do the same exact area. All right. So right here, buy, and then immediately sell. Okay, I see where they're coming from. So, but the buy doesn't show up until 11/4/42. I would not buy this high. I'd have to get the buy back here. So I wouldn't buy that. That pink bar, orange bar is still coming as a sell, and I like it. I liked that one before too. Still like it. So you gotta be able to have a read of whether or not it's bearish or bullish, and you need another entry signal to confirm. It's just a filter. Okay, so here we have buy potentially at 466. It's bullish. I might actually take that. The risk reward's awful, but if it's bullish enough, it's not that bad. But then they tell you to sell right there, so that's kind of nice to know if that does end up rolling. Let's see. It does. Oh, that's neat. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. You get out at break even if you tried to be aggressive. That's cool. That's very cool. Okay, so this one is the close of this. See, the close of these bars are going to be a little bit bigger. 75 now. It doesn't show up until after the X. See, I would have wanted to sell the X, but I don't get the confirmation until the pink at 75 is the confirmation here that says, yeah, you might want to be short. It's like, yeah, you're a little late, but thanks. Tries to sell off. Looks like it's not going to. And we get a buy. Nice. At 90. Ugh. Late. 1 bar late, at least. Too late for me. It does break out. We get a sell. This sells at 87. It's below that. This is a great sell. It's not alerting me to it until this bar. The beginning of this bar, but still this bar. So this time frame may be too high for me. But it still might be helpful. It's just a little bit laggy. This one says buy at 96. Like most of these I would not have been able to catch. There, that one I would have taken. I'll buy that. Yeah. Oh, there's a sell. It actually might got me out. 93. Oh, see, it's back to break even. See, that's the problem. They're so big that it's not getting you out until after this bar prints. And then I don't really have... I can get out, but I'm not going to sell that. See? Then it says buy at 08. Which is there. That's not bad. Green bar, pink bar is pretty good. If it's really bullish, that might work. Yeah. So if you can tell the difference between like a swing, like this one, that we're getting extended here, but it's still bullish. Yeah. Green bar. See, it's the same exact pattern. Green bar, pink bar. Green bar, pink bar. Right? This might work better on a smaller time frame, but one way or another. It's not that... Oh, that's good. What's that? 13. Oh, man. See, it's late. Oh, okay. It's 1 bar late, but I would still buy that. Oh, and that's wrong. That one straight up gets rocked. Ouch. Okay. And there's no warning that it's... Oh, then it just sets up again at 84 right here. I don't like that one as much. It probably works. Yeah. Okay, and then this one is 81. See, it's a bar late. It doesn't come until this. Probably works. It works nicely. Yeah, the ES was better. Oh. 26. That's okay. At a pink bar, it's risk reward is weak, but yeah, that happens. It seems to let me know when that's about to occur. It's not 100%, but and then no sells all through here. That's great. Okay, here's one of these buy and then immediately sell. So it says buy at 10. That does kind of look like a buy if you think it's going to continue. Super extended. And then it says wait, no, sell at 89. Not yet. Wait, 89. Oh God, all the way down here. That's gross. Well, I wouldn't have sold down there anyway. I didn't have a setup. It would have been late. But it does not give me a buy. Yeah. It's definitely less good on NQ. I'm not surprised at all. 604. NQ's harder. See, this one's late by about 4 points, but I bet it works. Yeah, they still work. They're just late. That still works. Says to short. It's just later than I want. That risk is just too big for me. It's telling me about it at 1350, and really I need to put my stop up here at 38. So that's just too much risk. But it's working. Like, that's great, right? If nothing else, knowing like which direction might be helpful. But when it does this, it's like you could take some pretty big stops. Because like that kind of looks like it might be a retrace into a low volume node. If that would have been pink, I probably would have taken it. And then it immediately says, wait, no, just kidding. Long it at 80.50. And that doesn't happen until this bar. So it stops you out. You get a full stop, like a 20-point stop. And then it says, oh, by the way, buy the breakout. And you make your money back. Oh, and then it says to sell at 88.25. Yeah, almost all of these is like a bar late. But they work. So I'll give it that. So maybe that's just too big of a time frame. So I guess we'll go back to 24.12.6. Because that one's kind of not usable. But let's see. If I just use some logic and don't buy where I would be selling, I think these will trigger sooner. So like this one, 86.50. That's way up here. That's great. Yeah. But see, you might get, it's a scalp, right? And then this one says no, go long at 81.25. And that one works. And then this one says wait, sell at 87. Right here at the X. Boom. So all you have to do is catch a couple of those and you'd be good. It's definitely not useless. I'm not to the level where I'm gonna overlay it on this chart or anything, but it's not useless. What I do think might be cool, it would be to take the P&F chart, the point and figure chart, and actually overlay it on this. The way you would do that is you go studies, and you go subgraph, study, subgraph, overlay. Right here. Study price overlay. Okay. Add. Then you're going to go in here and you're going to say the study I want you to overlay, this is NQ, right, is my Flex Renko NQ chart, which is right here, 24.12.6. And I want it to be the like above zero signal, right? So I need to make both of these, above zero and below zero, but let's just do this one. And then you could say, just make it look exactly like the other one. And it's going to show up down here, but I can switch that and put it on here. Okay, now I can change, if I want to change this, I can mess with this, and where it says use colors from study, I can go to no, and then it gives me the choice here. See that? So if I want to adjust that, I can. It's just simpler if you do this. But what you're going to see, what I'm hoping to see. So now I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to do it for the is below zero. So now we're going to get both of them. Okay, what I'm hoping to see oh, that's too close. And it might be too many signals, but what I'm hoping to see is that on the point and figure chart, I should be able to very clearly see like price action. So like when it goes white, brown like this, that might be a good, and then brown, white, that's probably a good buy. brown, white, I would think that's a good buy too. See that? So these little buys are like not always going to be working, but the ones that occur right after the brown ones are probably pretty good. And if that's the case, you can actually filter them out by saying, I only want to. You'd make a whole new study. You'd hide this one, and you'd make a whole new study that says the previous bar was brown, and this bar is white, and show me it with a diamond or something. And then you wouldn't see any of this, but you'd see this one right here, and you'd see this one right here. So this would be your first signal, and then this would be your second signal in all of these, right? Now you get a buy here, and you have to remember this is on a very small time frame. So if this is like, wow, it's way too many signals, right? I technically could go back to that order flow, and I could try this on a different setting, right? I could go back to the 48, for instance. And like I said, for the Renko, it wasn't good enough for like for a signal, right? But for the PNF chart, it might still be useful. Whoops, I don't know what happened here. Okay, so let's see. Does this make any sense? So like I said, I'm particularly interested in either when there is a lot of them or when it's brown and then immediately white. Brown and then immediately white, and it lifts. Brown by itself actually drops. White, brown, it ends higher and it gets white again. Big lift. But notice here we do not get every rotation, right? White, brown, that's probably a sell. White all the time, break out above it, buy. White, break out above it, buy. White, break out above it. That one probably fails. White, break out above it, buy. White, break out above it, it's probably bullish. All right, so hopefully that kind of makes sense. Like, it's just a simple way to see, like, I wouldn't use this as, I wouldn't buy and sell off of it like that, but like if I wanted to know the zones to look for sells and buys, that might be the way to think about it. Is like if I'm down here and I sold this somewhere on the Renko chart, I'm feeling pretty comfortable about that sell right now. And then as it falls down, I'm like, okay, I don't have any reason to really think this is going to return. But then once I see this, I can be like, okay, let's trail my stop right here. Okay, let's trail my stop right here. And trailed up. And it goes higher. So I think using it like that on a point and figure chart might make sense. So like, look like here. If let's say it's a trend day, right? And you're looking for the sell on the Renko chart, you have a different way to find but you know you're looking sell because it's brown. So now I'm going to go down, and as long as it stays brown or black, I'm going to stay being bearish. Now this one had this was econ, right? So this is a little bit unfair, but it came all the way up here and said sell, and it did go lower, but then notice it immediately said white, so buy. So if I was still short somehow, I want to be all out if it got over this level. And now I'd want to be all out if it got over this level. So I'd be flipping and going long, or at least not short anymore right here, right? But I profit here to here. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, if you bought this, you'd want to be selling if you got under this, and now you'd want to be selling if you got under this, and so you'd be out. So you'd profit from wherever you bought it in here, let's say here to here. So pretty small. Now, it says you can sell, so if you break down, you can sell, right? Now here, you'd have to put your stop up here, and notice you might get nervous here, but it says, hey, look, it's still brown. There's really no reason to be nervous about this. Just stick with the same direction, and what do you know, it rolls over, right? Here too, it says it might go lower. It does, but now it says white. So now I can say, okay, if it starts to break out, I can probably get out here. And then the next one is white, and so it means if it goes any higher than this, I can probably flip, and then it does. So right there, I can go long. Now that one does come back but notice it gets white again. So if you did put your stop here, and you didn't take profits at all here, you wouldn't really have any way to know to trail your stop. You'd probably get stopped out, but as soon as you get stopped out, it'd be white again, and then you'd get re-triggered into the trade as soon as this bar broke out, if that's the way you were trading it. So you'd get long there, and then you'd start trailing stop here, then trail stop to here, then trail stop to here, and you get stopped out of your long right there, right? If you wanted to get short, it would be on a breakdown to this. Doesn't happen. If you want to get long, it's a breakout of that. Doesn't happen, right? Breakout of this doesn't happen. Breakout of this, you get long right here. See that? So it's, like I said, super, super simple. I'm not suggesting that anybody does that with real money. I'm just saying that from like if you wanted to build something, the way I would use this personally is I would actually teach a new indicator on this to be like a light or something, right? Some sort of a big old dot somewhere. And when the PNF chart broke out, where'd that go? When the PNF chart broke out over the high of a white bar like this, I would want that dot like right here on this bar. When the PNF, when it broke out over this on the PNF chart, I'd want to get my light to turn green and be like, oh, good. I should be only buying now, no selling, right? And so if I want to just buy it, fine. Otherwise, wait for the buy signal. Now, if I got the brown and it got underneath it, it would turn red, and I'd be like, oh, I got to get out of that sell or get out of that buy, and I can look for sells. And like, oh, there's my signal right here. I'll just sell this, right? And then if it turned green again, it would be assigned to buy only, right? And then in between, maybe it would be yellow or something. But that would be the way I would use it. So that I don't have to watch this. The whole idea is that I want to transform this into an indicator on the chart I'm actually looking at, so I don't have to keep track of whether or not it's white or brown, right? And it wouldn't be hard to do at all. In fact, you could probably, yeah. What I would really prefer it to do, though, is to not only tell me it's white or brown, but to say, are we breaking over a high of a white bar or under a low of a brown bar when it's not the opposite color, right? So like this would not be a short because it's gone to the opposite color. But this would be a long. I hope that makes sense. So like if it's black or if it's the same color as the direction, the trade is triggered or the idea is triggered. But if you break down and it switches colors, we know that that's usually assigned to flip, right? It looks like. So instead, we don't want to take that short. We want to wait for the long signal. And like here, you get the short, but you'd probably get the signal on the breakdown right there, right? And then you'd stay short. Like this would be like yellow light because it's not actually red, right? It's not this condition. It's broken down under it, and it's yellow light until this high gets broken. This signal high, right there. Now it would be like out, right? And then here it would be out until we got over this. Out until we get over this. There's the buy. Oh, no buy. It's brown. So you do nothing unless you got under this, right? Nothing unless you got under. Oh, it turned white again. So now you're long right here. And there you go. And stay long unless you got under this, and then you're stopped out right there. And same thing, right? Long over that. Stop under this. Now it says short if it breaks down. So I'm out already of my long, and you could be selling. There we go. So I mean, it's a simple idea, and I feel like it might help me get the direction right? There'd be the flips might be a little bit frustrating, But yeah, it wouldn't. I don't think it'd be that hard to build. So maybe next week we can. I don't think it'd be that hard. I think now that I have it on here, it's literally just like one more study to say, is it white? Is it trading over white? Right? Or actually, it would be, is it white? Is it trading under brown? Then nothing. But if it's trading under brown and it's not white, then sell. And then opposite. If it's brown but it's trading over white, do nothing. If it's or sell, or trail, I mean. And then if it's like be yellow, but if it's if it's trading over white and it's not brown, then it's green and you can take buys. But that's the idea anyway. That's what I was initially thinking that this might be useful for. Now I could do the exact same thing on the ES chart, the ES PNF chart. It all you'd have to do. So you'd take this, and you can save it as the default. Now I'll have to adjust it, but what you'll see is by adding this and now changing this to the ES Flex Renko chart, which is, I don't remember what number it is, right here, 642. Okay, and then here we go. Now we would do duplicate, and we would say oh wait, did I do that right? It's gotta be the right study. Yeah, and then this one would be below 0. There we go. Make sure I save this. And then I'm going to save the other one real quick too. Let's see if this works here, and then I'm going to go. Studies. It was like PNF and Q. Okay, save all. Yes. Always save your work, you guys. It's so frustrating to have to come back and do it again. Okay, so PNF. All right, so let's see. Do we have the same sort of conditions here? Same idea, right? So we get a sell, but then we get white. So we don't take the short, is what it's saying. Where you would buy above this doesn't trigger. It says buy a breakout above this. It happens right here, so or at least here, and it closes above it. So that's the long. Trail stop if it goes lower than that. Trail stop if it goes lower than that. Never mind. Don't trail your stop because it's bullish, right? And buy if it gets above this. Buy if it gets above this. You might get hit there. Otherwise, you just hang out here because this one doesn't actually get over this. But see, this one doesn't close above it, but it does get above it. So if you just did the breakout, you might get hit. But then here it says, wait, you should sell if it gets underneath this. But then it's white, so it says, no, never mind. Buy if you get above this, right? So it gets a little confusing. Here it says, sell if it gets under this. Here it says, no, buy if you get over this. And then there's your entry for buy, right? And it's not telling you to reverse, so you can just hold the trade. And this is the first time it really triggers anyway. Because these are all just one, right? So you get the alert, but the very next bar, it says, scratch that, go the other direction. So there's nothing. Nothing happens, right? Until you actually get either a second white bar, a second brown bar, or a black bar. And then that bar needs to go in the direction of that color. So white is up, so this would be your long, and then your stop would go down here, and that probably would stop out, but it does say, hey, you might stop out, but if you get over this, it's bullish again, right? So if you do take the stop, you'd have to immediately get back in again. And I don't know how I'd actually handle that real time, but the idea is not necessarily to just buy with the signal, but to look for buys on the algo. And then here it says I can short if it gets under this. Then it says no, never mind, buy if it gets above this. Might get hit there. If not, probably here. Stop goes down here. You can see that then now it says, no, never mind, get out of it. No, I'm sorry, it's buy if it gets above this. So you'd hold, hold, hold. It does not stop out. The buy is right here. And now you finally get paid. Here it says to add. And then you really don't get a notification to trail your stop until way back here. Right? So you might have to be a little bit more vigilant than that. But it looks like it trails the stop here. And it appears to say it gets short and then stops out. And then gets short and stops out again. So that kind of sucks. Then here it says get short here. That works great. But then it rolls back on you if you didn't take profits. So it seems like at this time frame, it's not giving very many signals. Here, buy above this. Never mind. Short under this. Short under this. Short under this. Short. That works. Short under this or add. That works a little bit. There's no alert here to get out. On NQ, there were more alerts. It would have never let it sit like this. So that's interesting. Now this is overnight, and I may need to adjust that. But here we have buy and stopped, and then buy, stop, buy, sell under this. Actually, it's watch for a buy, don't do anything. Watch for a buy, don't do anything. Short. There we go. That one worked. Short. Short. That might have stopped you out, but then short. All short only, basically. And then here, long only. Short only. Oof. Ouch. Then here it says short if it gets under this, which thankfully it doesn't. Short if it gets under this. No, I'm sorry, it's long. So long over this. God, I must be tired. So this one doesn't really trigger because it goes bearish first. So now you're looking for shorts underneath. There, short. Stopped. Nothing. Long. Probably. Okay. A little bit. That's interesting. On the PNF chart, it doesn't work as well on ES as it does. On NQ, it was like, it was pretty. And here, it's messy. I do have it set right? Just want to make sure. ES. Above zero, bullish. Below zero. Everything's right. It just doesn't line up as well. Funny, because on the actual Renko chart it works better. You know what it is? It's because I know what it is. It's because on the Renko chart, the oh no, this is just a really small time frame compared to the time frame that it's on. So if I changed the time frame that the signals were coming from, I could filter a lot of these out, just like I did on the NQ chart, and make this better. But then it wouldn't work as well on the Renko chart. So it's kind of like a different, but like sometimes it works. But other times it it doesn't work for anything, you know? Like here, not working. That one works. But then it doesn't. So I'd say using the ES on the PNF chart does not work as well as I thought it would. And NQ on the profile, on the PNF chart, works better than I thought it would. Which is exactly the opposite than I expected. Like, this is actually working. Look at that. That's beautiful. It's crazy. Why would these work so well? It's got to be the time frame. The time frame is just lining up. It's not perfect, but like I said, if I could just avoid selling, even, like, don't short if it's white, even that. And like I said, all that I have to do, it's not hard. You just overlay it on this, but change the signal from a background to like a dot in the corner that just turns green. That says, basically tells you long only, right? and it would take it from this one, overlay it on this one, and change the signal. It's a couple steps, but it's not out of the realm of something I can do. So I think for now I'm gonna watch it here. Primarily, it looks like the ES one is the one to use for the Renko. So if I'm looking at like an ES4 tick or an ES6 tick, like this, and then watching for those signals here, not those. I thought I hid those. I guess not on the ES one. Hide. I don't know why I have to have this on for it to work. It's very strange. Okay, and we'll say save. That's fine. All right, so now I can look at this, right? And I can say, oh, it told me to buy here if I got it set up. I didn't. It's too late. But then it said right here, take a short if you get it. Well, I didn't there. Oh, I didn't have it set up. Nothing yet. But it said to short it, so it looks like it might be going lower. But that's probably what I'll be doing for now, is just kind of continuing to do what I'm already doing, but watching for those signals and just seeing if it helps me, if nothing else, filter out some of the reverse. Because if I see a short, if I see brown over here, and then it sets up bullish over here, I might want to second guess that bullish trade until I get the bullish confirmation. Now, sometimes that's probably going to make me miss some big moves, but I'd like to know if it's useful. And really the only way to know is to try it. And eventually, if I trust it and I've got it optimized, I can then either take it directly from here to here or do something like what I was thinking, which is send it first to the PNF chart so that I have very clear highs and lows, and then tell it to only tell me about it when it actually breaks the high for a bull or breaks a low for a bear, like this. And that way it's not like constantly flipping back and forth. It's just going on when like there's a clear direction all of a sudden, like here. I don't want to be shorting this. And while I don't think I would, it's was that NQ or yes, NQ. So I don't think I'd be shorting this, but if it does set up short, like pink bar star, like that, like if there's no pink bar, but if I was like, oh, I wonder if I can short this, like it wouldn't be hard to just go to have this tell me, like, no way, man, you haven't gotten underneath a white one even, let alone a brown one, so don't short it. And then it turns white again and just goes higher, right? So not shorting this whole time is going to be your best move. But look, you get like stars and, you know, some of these might be like pink bar, diamond, like that. Now that one works, right? And so well, no, you wouldn't miss it because it told you to do it right there. Yeah, you'd actually get the perfect. Wait, is that ES or NQ? That's ES. Well, that's interesting. So there's so the signal's on ES, but the trigger's on NQ. Is there a trigger on ES too? There's no trigger on ES, but there was on NQ, and there's no sell on NQ. Huh. Funny, strange. I don't know what to think of that. It's possible that maybe you don't need them both. Maybe the way to do it is to use the signals off ES on the Renko chart and then just apply those to NQ and ES. And then whichever, because look at that, that's perfect. Oh wait, are they not? They're not lined up. 101. Oh, never mind. They're not lined up. That's why it's not working. Okay, they're not lined up. So, well, what would that have looked like? Let's see. Because that's another, I had never thought of that. 101. Yeah, right there. That's a sell. And it triggered on ES, but not on NQ. But on ES, we had no setup. So that's another idea. Let's see. What about the 4 tick? Oh, not that. Not that. This. I don't need it so big. Not good enough. I mean, we had... Maybe that is good enough, actually, because you got speed bar, rejection, orange bar. That's worked in the past. Yeah, that works. That might be good enough. With the divergence, that might be good enough. Okay. I'll play with it. Maybe I'll be trading ES more. But I'd like to see if, I don't know, like how it works live. But I think there's some potential for it to be useful. It hasn't been optimized yet. So there you go. If you want to build something similar, go for it. And yeah, let me know if this has been helpful.